You are supposed to have. Okay. You're supposed to have pasuk for Shabbos for this. My Amiklus teachers in Beis Yaakov told them that. Yeah.
What they told them that?
Yeah.
As long as it's not lace bread, it's all good. Yeah. Yeah, you're supposed to have. It could be even the whole Shabbos, even not Shabbos Sudas.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. All right. All right. So ready to go? We have our minion on. Where we live by the Mishna. I think we got to the Mishna on Chaf Aleph and Beis. Today's daf is Chaf Beis, correct?
I guess so.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, it's not such a hard daf. We should be able to catch up. Okay, we're almost caught up, anyways. Okay, so Beshama, it's up to Mishna, yeah. Beshama Oimrim, Lo Yecham Adam Chamen L'Raglav. A person's not allowed to heat up hot water for his feet, just to wash his feet. Elam came Ruyin L'Shasiya, unless it's drinkable. If it's drinkable, then he's allowed, according to Beshama, then he could, since there's a potential for him to drink it, therefore he's allowed to use it for his feet. Basil Matirin, Basil says no, it's mutter, right? Even if you don't plan on drinking the water, right? Which is, as we know, the Machlokes Besham Basil about mitoich, right? Which is that Besham doesn't hold the mitoich, Basil holds the mitoich. But since you're allowed to heat up the water for drinking, so therefore you're allowed to heat up the water for your feet to wash. Yeah, which Tosfos says that you have to actually drink the water, according to Bishama. Not just that it's enough water. You have to actually drink the water. Yeah, fine. Okay. Then I saw the Medura u'mischamim connect. The person can make a fire and warm himself up by it, right? And that the shaila is that a code both according to Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel, or just Beis Hillel, right? Fine. So that's we'll see more of this later on in the daf. So Zakting Mar, Frekting Mar, Ibailu. They asked the shaila. I'm a dura man katanila. Divrei hakoli b'shani lahu Beis Shammai ben anos kogu b'danos ever echad. Adem Beis Hillel katanila al Beis Shammai l'shanula. Right, like we just said. Did this last thing of Isa Adam Madura, would a Beis Shammai agree that a person is allowed to make a fire? Again, Beis Shammai holds you're only allowed to do things, melacha, that's going to go towards actual food. Beis Hillel says, no, once you're doing it, mitoich, that you're allowing it for actual food, we also allow it for other things too. So is heating up the entire body different according to Beis Shammai? Because that's the entire body. And his only issue is part of the body. A person should not make a fire and heat it up next to it. If Basil Matir and Basil says it's mutter. Right? So that's that.
Yaakov, I don't want to disturb. I just got to ask Rafe, what's the temperature over there? Because you're looking mighty cold.
Where is he? I don't see him. I don't see him now.
It's freezing here.
Oh my gosh. You make me feel. What's the temperature over there?
It's got to be probably in the 40s. I had earmuffs on before. Looked even more ridiculous.
I think that everybody here is jealous of you.
Yeah. It's supposed to be in the 70s tomorrow.
Oh, okay. Because here it's a sauna.
Oh, really? Yeah, the first day of Yom Tov here was crazy. Everyone's schwitzing away. But then it got crazy cold. It's very cold.
So that's headed to us, right? That's headed to us starting.
It's coming to you, boys.
Friday. Okay.
Going this way.
That's our weather forecaster.
I said it with a bracha.
There you go.
Enjoy.
Okay.
I was drinking the whole day. Keep me warm.
We weren't concerned about that. Yeah. Okay. So let's see Vata. Fine.
The best heat is from within. The best heat is from within.
There you go. even if it's manufactured.
Or a cigar.
Yeah.
That's the outer.
Okay, so let's see the next Mishnah. There were three things that Rabbi Gamliel was machmer like Beis Shammai. Ain't time it's a chamen lechatchila b'Yom Tov. You cannot. You're not allowed to do hatmana, meaning when Yom Tov falls out on Friday, so you want to prepare the hot water. Yeah, so hatmana literally means to insulate. So you don't want to. You're not, according to Beis Shammai, you're not allowed to insulate the hot water for Yom Tov. Ain't zoikvenas a menorah b'Yom Tov, and you can't stand up a menorah for Yom Tov. Meaning, we'll see in the Gemara. That means like you have those candelabras that come in pieces, so you can't attach it together on Yom Tov. Which again we'll see in the Gemara, but the simple translation is that you're not allowed to cook thick bread. You can only cook rekikin is like matzahs. In the days of Beis Abba, they didn't bake only pit and gritzen. They didn't bake these thick things, only rekikin. What should we do with your father? They were strict. They themselves were strict, but they were makel for all of Klal Yisrael. They allowed Klal Yisrael to bake thick pieces of bread and charoron and stam pieces of bread. They allowed all sorts of baking. Okay, we'll see in the Gemara what this is all talking about. So Gemara, yeah, we're 4 lines up from the bottom on Chaf Aleph on base. What's the case? What's the case that you're not allowed to do hatmana, right? Again, we've said that Rabbi Gamliel went with like Beis Shammai, and he said you're not allowed to take your hot water and insulate it on Yom Tov that fell out on a Friday, right? You're not allowed to insulate it for Shabbos. So what's the case? If you made an Erev Tavshilin my time at the Beis Shammai, why does Beis Shammai say you can't do it? You made Erev Tavshilin. You're allowed to prepare from Friday to Shabbos. My time at the Beis Hillel. If you didn't put an Erev Tavshilin, so what does Beis Hillel say? So Rav Huna says it's somewhere where he didn't put an Erev Tavshilin. When somebody doesn't make an Erev Tavshilin, we allow him to do. He's got to live. Where's the guy going to die if he doesn't have? If he didn't make an Erev Tavshilin, so we have to let him have the minimum things he's allowed to do as a preparation.
I mean, what happens if the guy forgot to cook for a regular Shabbos?
What?
What happens if the guy forgot to cook on a regular Shabbos? He forgot to cook on Friday for Shabbos.
No, that's true. So I mean, we can't allow an Issa Daraisa. But this is talking about on Friday, he chaps that he didn't make. It's Friday of Yom Tov. He chaps, I didn't make Erev Tavshilin. Right? And he's got no rabbi. He doesn't daven in any shul. Okay, so he roams.
And he has no leftover food for Yom Tov, from Yom Tov.
And I guess I thought you were going to ask why they can't eat cold food. Right? You're a nicer guy than me. So you're a nicer guy than me.
Basar, what do you mean? He has to cook.
Salami, you could eat cold. Eat a salami.
Yeah. Right, American have salami. Okay.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know why the Gemara is not saying that, but I guess you got to let him have some cold. Again, it's at the Rabbana, right? He's preparing from Yom Tov to Shabbos. So it's not just the Rabbana, it's the Rabbana. So we allow him to have stuff. Right? Somebody who doesn't make an Erev Tavshilin, he's allowed to bake one bread, which is also interesting because how does he, what do you call it? What, he doesn't need lecha Mishna? I guess that's not important enough.
It says right? Ofenlo. Who bakes this for him?
What?
Ofenlo, Mavashlenlo. He bakes it himself, or who's doing this?
Yeah, so I wasn't sure, right? Well, I thought it means that he himself is allowed to bake it. Otherwise, what's the chiddush? That somebody else gives him food? No. I think it has to be that he could bake it or somebody. Otherwise, there's no chiddush. I don't see how you could say that oifen loy really means. I don't know, but that's what I think. Yeah, mavashlan loy kedera achas. You could cook him one food. Umadlikin loy asaner, and you madlik him the candle. You're talking about like dog cotton. You could even give him roasted fish. That's also right. But you cannot do hatmana. That's what comes out. But you're not allowed to. He's not allowed to do hatmana on the water for the hot water. Now it's interesting. The top Tosfos in Erev, we're not holding by doing Erev Tashilin. If we were holding by that, then it would make a difference. Do you need? It's two questions. Do you need Erev Tashilin if you just, let's say you're sleeping at home, but you're eating all your meals out. You need an Erev Tashilin in order to light Shabbos candles, right? That's one. Two is do you include it in the nusach of the Erev Tashilin? So Tosfos says from this Gemara, we say Madlikin Layas Haner. From this Gemara is mashma that you do need an Erev Tashilin to light a candle. From meaning when Yom Tov is on a Friday, you have to make an Erev Tashilin even if you're just lighting candles, because
so even if you're 100% cooked up and I'm saying you're not making it, you don't want to cook. I cooked everything Erev Yom Tov. I don't want to cook.
Which is what most people do, right? Right? Well, I guess not the cholent, but right, yeah, 100%. That's a good case too, right? Then that's what you do. Yeah. He bake him one bread of a time like kedera achas. You do atmana on one pot, right? And you light the ner for him. And you heat him up one jug. And those that say you even roast one dog, yeah. So basically, what we're saying is that's what the Machlokes is. The Machlokes is where he did not do an Erev Tavshilin. Beis Shammai would hold that you're not allowed to heat him up the water. Beis Hillel holds you are allowed to heat him up the water. Fine. So now again, we're talking about the Mishna of why would it be that Beis Shammai would not allow you to heat up hot water for Shabbos? If you did an Erev Tavshilin, it should be fine. If you didn't do an Erev Tavshilin, then what's the chiddush? So now we're up to the next teretz. Really talking about where he did do an Erev Tavshilin. B'shani hatmana the mucha milsa the dait the shabsa ga'avid, which is a very interesting teretz. He's saying that if everything else, when you're cooking with an Erev Tavshilin, so you make a cholent, doesn't look like you're doing it for Shabbos necessarily, right? You're making the cholent for Yom Tov. You put up food, etc., etc. But if you go and you insulate hot water and you put it in the ground or wherever you're doing the hatmana, in the ashes or on the clothing, then clearly you're doing it that it should stay hot for much later, which means that you're doing it, obviously you're cooking on Yom Tov for Shabbos. So Rava says that's why hatmana doesn't work even if you have an Erev Tavshilin. The practical of this is that the poskim do say that when you do make an Erev Tavshilin, you should not cook for Shabbos an hour before. You're supposed to really cook earlier so that it looks like there is a potential that you would be using it for Yom Tov. But to put everything up right before Shabbos, the person say you shouldn't do that based on this Rava. It's not halachically also, but
and also the item should be somewhat cooked already, so it's not cooking.
No, I don't think that makes a difference. I don't know what I mean that it should be cooked. Why?
I guess
Why
that's
could you cook it raw?
You have that issue.
Well, it should have enough time. It should have enough time to be cooked before. I guess it's the same thing what you're saying.
So then an hour is not enough usually.
Yeah. Okay, so let's see. By the Ezra Abaya had a kasha. Hananya said, Beis Shammai Yomer, and we had this before. Ein oifen elaim kein erev papas. You're not allowed to bake from Friday to Shabbos, even for an Erev Tavshilin, unless you made an Erev with bread. You're not allowed to cook unless you made an Erev with Tavshil. And you can't do Atmana unless you already insulated water on Erev Yom Tov. Right? If you had if you already had it, then meaning you had insulated water from Erev Yom Tov, not Erev Shabbos, Erev Yom Tov, then you're allowed to make more. The Shabbos covered, then it's even though it's obvious that you're doing it for Shabbos, right? Anyway, asking Hananya says you're allowed to if you did hatmana on hot water, so then you're allowed to do hatmana from Friday to Shabbos. That doesn't take care of that you're looking. It's very glaring that you're doing the preparation for Shabbos, right? So Elam Rabaya, so we change it. It's Elam Rabaya going to Erev Lazeh, below Erev Lazeh. It's talking about he made an Erev Tafshila, but he didn't do the Erev Tafshila for Hatmana. It's going according to Hanania, according to Beis Shammai, which is that you need for every type of cooking that you're doing, you have to include that in the Erev Tafshila. So therefore, you have if you want to cook, you have to cook something. If you want to bake, you have to bake something. You want to do insulating of hot water, then you have to insulate hot water. Fine. And you're not allowed to stand up at menorah. My but what exactly are you doing? Right? You're standing up a menorah, so the menorah fell down. So you're picking it up. What's the problem? Right now, unfortunately, a lot of people make the mistake. They think Yom Tov, they can't carry the leichter out of the sukkah into inside. You can. It's not muksa. The leichter is not muksa on Yom Tov. Right? So what's the problem with fixing, or not fixing, but making the candelabra? So we're not talking about your standard menorah. We're talking about what it has different parts. The mechsi kebayna, it looks like you're building it. The Beis Shammai sabri yesh binyan bekelim. Beis Shammai holds that there is such a thing as binyan bekelim. Ubesila sabri ain't binyan bekelim. There's no binyan bekelim. They ain't stira bekelim, and there's no such thing as destroying kelim either. So that's why Beis Hillel says it's no problem to stand up the menorah. Beis Shammai says it is a problem. Fine. Ula iklu lebeir of Yehuda kam Shammai zakaf lo l'sharga. Ula he traveled to Rabbi Yehuda, and his shamas got up. Right, Ula's shamas got up. Zakaf lo l'sharga, and he stood up the lamp. Right, the sharga means really the what do you call it? I guess the lamp. Is it a lamp? Whatever, the candle, the candle with the oil, and then it went out, right? So, but you see that he allowed him to do it, yeah. So, Esvei Rabbi Yehuda leula. So Rabbi Yehuda asked Ula, if somebody puts shemen into a candle, he's chayav because of maver. If you take oil out, you chayav for extinguishing. So, why did you allow your guy to do this? Right, you're not allowed to mess with the oil. It's not on my dot. It was not. He didn't ask me permission. He did it on his own. Had I seen that he was doing it, I would have stopped him. Fine. So Amar Rav, kanva shari. Yeah, you're allowed to cut down the wick. Yeah, so you're allowed to, meaning sometimes when you're lighting a candle, so the wick is black on the top and the candle's not lighting properly. So the Gemara is saying that you're allowed to cut it down in order to be able to that it should light better. Yeah. Now this is a whole sugya, right? I don't know if it has to do with this exactly, but if you need new rings on Yom Tov for your lulav, are you allowed to tear off? Are you allowed to tear off from the end of your lulav or from a lulav that you're not using? Are you allowed to tear it off in order to make a ring? Now, obviously, you can't make a ring with knots.
You spoke about it yesterday.
When you say Yom Tov, do you mean Chol or you mean Yom Tov?
No, Yom Tov. For sure, it's okay. For sure, I'm talking about on Yom Tov itself. It's a big deal in the Paiskim whether you allow. Again, it's dead, right? The lulav is dead. Yeah, and they're not attached to anything. So what should be wrong? So the Paiskim, it's a deal in the Paiskim. What they do say, if it's necessary, you should do it with your teeth. Do it with a shinui. Right?
But you said it was good. You said it was good to keep the lulav in the water. Is it mamish dead, you think?
Yeah, I mean it's not alive that you're going to be over on kaitza.
Okay.
Right. So or on flowers, if it's you allowed to peel it. So it's a big shilas. I just wonder here why it's pashut here that you're allowed to cut this down, but I don't know if it's a good comparison or not. All right. Just trying to tie it into Nyan of the Yom. Fine. Okay, can you put out a fire because of davar acher? Davar acher here means for something else. It means for intimacy. So you're not supposed to have intimacy with the lights on. And now you have the candles lit in the room. Are you allowed to put out the candle? Now that's a tzarech Yom Tov. Right? Now there's a lot of tumah with this whole thing. Is extinguishing considered a tzarech Yom Tov? If you're allowed to light a fire for tzarech Yom Tov, so why can't you put out the fire for tzarech Yom Tov? Right? If you asked Stam, it would be pashut that this should be mutter, based on our knowledge that you're allowed to do melacha on Yom Tov l'tzarich the guf. So why is it putting it out, not the tzarich a guf? So he answered him back, Amar lo yashur b'vayis. You don't have to put it out. Go to a different room. You want to have the intimacy, go to a different room. Right? Which l'chayra he's avoiding the answer. Okay, so he said back to him, Ein le'bayis acher ma. This is like Naphtali Liner over here. He's not letting you get away with it. He's not letting you get away with it. He's Ein le'bayis acher. He doesn't have another. He doesn't. Naphtali's sitting here. He's not on because he's in front of me. So I don't think we're making fun of him behind his back. Okay. All right.
Because that we would never do.
I'm just in case, you know what I mean? It's still within a week of Yom Kippur, you know what I mean? So, yes. So, what happens if he doesn't have another house? It's after on mechitza. Put up a mechitza in front of the candle. But let's say you can't put on mechitza mai. So you can put a kli over it, and that will block the light.
Oh, this is where the Shabbos lamps come from. See, everybody thought it was genius. It's not. This is.
Yeah, but the thing is, they have to make it where there's some air, right? Otherwise, the fire will go out. The fire. I don't know how they work that exactly.
Maybe
So
it's not on top. Maybe it's not on top. Maybe it's just blocking it.
Okay, but then it would. All right, maybe. I hear. I mean, it's not fully. So ain't like kli mai. He said, if you don't have a kli, amarle, he said to him, it's awesome. Right?
What about
he said, no,
what about a guy?
What's usher? It's usher to put it out or usher to have
usher to put it out.
What about
usher to put it out. And then it's usher to put it out, and memela, it's usher to have tashmish.
What about a guy to take it out?
Can you get a guy to shut it, to put it out? Let's finish.
No, take it out of the room.
Why can't you take? You could take it out of the room. I don't know why that wasn't one of the suggestions.
Okay.
It's a built-in fireplace.
Maybe because it was oil, and because the previous Gemara that you didn't want the oil to move.
Can we say he has no other room?
It seems like he didn't have a room to go to, but maybe there's another room to put it. Are you saying maybe there's no room either? Meaning
I don't know.
Room.
I don't know.
Okay. Maybe there's another couple in the other room. You can't. You know what I mean? You're going to knock on the door and say, by the way, you mind if I put my candle in your room? I mean, I don't know if that's going to fly, right? So, yeah. So, anyway, so he said it's also. So, Esvei asked the kasha, "Ein mechabenes a pakas k'dei lochus alav." You're not allowed to put out a piece of wood, right? A burning wood k'dei lochus alav, in order to have rachmanis on it. That's the literal translation. What it means is that you want to put out the wood so you could save your wood for later. But if it's that the house is getting smoky, you don't want the house to get smoky, right? Or you don't want the pot to get smoky, then it's mutter to put it out. So you see that you are allowed to extinguish. You are allowed to put something out, covered for Yom Tov. So Reb Yehuda, that's going according to Reb Yehuda, right? So because we know that Reb Yehuda holds that you're allowed to do melacha for even what do you call it? Not even if it's not directly affecting your simplest Yom Tov, like cooking. Rabbi Yehuda holds it would still be motor. Ki kamina no l'Rabbanon. I'm asking according to the Rabbanon, right? The Rabbanon don't allow that what do you call? We're gonna get to this in a few blocks from now. Yeah. So that's the so that was what his shaila was, and he told him no. According to the Rabbanon, you're not allowed to put it out, right? Which is yeah.
Even according to Rabbanon, in Bama Madlikin, Kachas Alaner, the only chiyuv for Mechabe is Kachas or something.
What are you saying?
If you're not being, the only chiyuv for Kibui is when he's chasal something. Here he's not being chasal on the nair. He wants it out so you can have tashmish. He's not Isa Tacham. Why would there be a chiyuv here anyway? Even on Shabbos, there wouldn't be a chiyuv of kibui, mechaber.
It would be, but it's a derabana.
That's what we're worried about.
Yeah, it's not a derai. Yeah, you're right. It's not a deraisa. Yeah. Now there's an interesting taisus that we should just read inside because it comes up a lot, especially for Rabban Horowitz because his son, I think. Right, Rabban Mendel lights from first night to second night Yom Tov. Neirus? Well, now it's not Negeya. You there?
He does something with the lock. I don't know what he does. Yeah.
Right, though, because Ravabadi held you shouldn't light second night Yom Tov or something. Well, now it's not. Now it's not Negeya to him. But I mean, I guess Rosh Hashana.
Yeah.
Right. Look at the second. The Toys the second up, and also for the smokers amongst us who shall remain nameless. Right. Right. It's also Negeya. Yeah. So Ein Mechavan is a Bakas. Yeah. The Toys says Mikan Yesh Limchois Es Hanoshim, which is in itself an interesting. You should make them. What?
Which Toises?
Second Toises from the bottom. Ein Mechavan is a Bakas. Toises says Mikan Yesh Limchois Es Hanoshim. You should make a macha on the women. You know how that goes when you make a macha on women. Okay. What they do is they take the wick out of the oil, when it's still lit, and they put it on the ground, which I think is the way the oil puts out their cigarettes. At least in the old days when I used to see people smoking on Yom Tov. So you just stand up your cigarette, right? You don't put it out. So here it says, he's saying you should make a macha on them, that they shouldn't do that. The is or and not to cover over the or. Yeah. So he's saying because I guess the difference is by the cigarettes, you don't care. You're not saving the cigarette. Here, the women are doing it to save the wick. They want to save the wick for the next time. So he's saying you can't do that. You can't do that. He says, this that the belt is noyig, to light from one Yom Tov, first day Yom Tov to second day Yom Tov, and they don't check to see if it's night, right? Which means that they're lighting when it's still day, so that means they're preparing from Yom Tov Rishon to Yom Tov Sheni. It's considered achana. It's even though it's not night, it's close to being dark. So you need that hadlaka. So Toisus is mashma that you don't. Everybody's busy. Second night Yom Tov hadlakas neiros not before whatever time you keep 80, 72, 50, whatever shear you keep. Here the Toisus is saying, yeah, l'chatchila you should do that, but if not, as long as it's a shtickle dark and you're getting hana from the candles, maybe you could even light earlier. Right? Because even if it was still first day Yom Tov, you're at least benefiting from the light. Right?
You're lighting for candles for the second day Yom Tov.
Correct.
Period?
That's what Tosis says. But Tosis says, no, and once it's a shtickle dark, you already, even if you're getting hana from it right then and there for that Yom Tov, even if it's first day. Right?
Does it make a difference today with the electric light that we have?
That's exactly from what I remember in the conversations with Rabban about Mendel Horowitz, I think Rav Abadi says with our electric lights and all that, you can't light. How do you light neighbors?
Right, exactly.
Right? It's not, you have lights. It's a whole part of it.
I don't understand. When do you make the bracha on Yom Tov? You make it after the Zman, or you're allowed to light it and make the bracha after?
No, Tais is still saying you should wait till after the Zman.
No, I understand, but let's say you're doing it. Do you make the bracha or you don't? Meaning you're doing it because you want the light. So I get it. It's like making food for the kids, right? So it might be ready before this man, after this man. It doesn't matter. They want it now, right? You're allowed to.
Yes. I mean, there's a chumrah from the Briskerov about it, but yeah.
I'll have to wait until next month to start being
making early Yom Tov.
Very good. What are you saying?
About making early Yom Tov?
What about it? Second day?
What second day Yom Tov? You're making early Yom Tov. That's what he's doing. That's what she's doing, I should say.
Yeah, I get. Well, yeah. Enochanami.
I mean, the only problem Texas has with it is lighting neighbors. That's it. There's no other issue.
Seems like that, yes. Okay, so let's see. Also, okay, let's continue with the kibui because there's a lot there. Back in the Gemara, it's about 20 lines up from the bottom. So, what about putting out a fire on Yom Tov? So, if it's a sakana, there's no question. Even on Shabbos, of course, it's a sakanas nefashos. You put it out. What happens? Can you put it out because you're losing money? Now l'chayri you'd say it's a tzarich Yom Tov. I'm gonna lose the person saying he's gonna lose the house, whatever it is. Can he put out the fire? Amalei said to him it's also right. So Eisvei ein mechaben is a bakas kadei lochas alav. You're not allowed to put out the piece of wood in order to save the wood.
What Ibud moment is mut. What Ibud moment?
Ibud moment he's saying is not enough of a reason to do a melacha.
What's the Hava meaning? What's the Hava?
No, because it's a simchas Yom Tov for me not to lose my money. Right? I'll be very happy not to lose my money on Yom Tov.
So I'm allowed to play the stock market because I'm afraid I'm going to lose money. I'm saying, well,
maybe, if to do something to save your money, maybe. But that's he's saying. But he told him back it's also. So he said, "What do you mean? You're not allowed to put out a piece of wood in order to have rachmanas on the wood because you want to save the wood. But if it's just because you want your house not to smoke up, so you're allowed to do a melacha. So why? Same kashas before. He says that he Rabbi Yehudi, and that's going according to Rabbi Yehuda. Kikamina another Rabbanon. I'm going according to Rabbanon. Yeah. So what do you see? That it's according to Rabbanon. It's extinguishing is awesome. That's why. This is why in the practical, you can turn on for those that have what do you call it? Pilot lights on their ovens and stoves. You could turn it on. Turn it higher. That's no problem. That's a tzarich of cooking. To lower it, who says it's a tzarich Yom Tov to lower the flame? Right? That's a big machlokes of whether you should do that or not, because just make a new flame. Why should I lower the flame? I could just make a new flame. Some say, well, what are you gaining by lowering the flame? This whole thing really does not negate bismanazeh, because nowadays when you light the stovetop, it first goes high and then you have to lower it. So according to all opinions, if you need to lower the flame, see, to put it out, why should you put it out? Take the pot off the fire. Right? Just take the pot off the fire and leave the flame. It's not a tzara. Shaila is if you need the flame on, you just need to lower. Should you make a new flame, or can you just lower it? So nowadays, when you turn on a flame, it goes high and then you have to lower it. So there's no point. So then you could lower it. If you need it for cooking purposes on Yom Tov, you are allowed to lower the flame. Right? Putting it out, that's what Moshe's cooler. There's a big cooler that they say from Moshe that you're allowed to even put it out on Yom Tov. But that's not because he allows extinguishing, because he says that our extinguishing, you're just cutting the gas. You're not really putting out any fire. You're cutting the gas supply to the flame, and then memela that cuts it off. That's not kibbutz. What? It's not a grama. It's not even a grama. You're not doing. He says kibbutz means like with this piece of wood, you're putting out the piece of wood. You're actually putting out the flame by yourself. Ramesh is saying when our glass stoves, what you do is that you're just cutting the gas off. That memela shuts off the flame. I don't think he says it for grama.
That's gram kibui beyontiv.
What?
That's gram kibui beyontiv.
He's not coming from gram kibui. I don't think he's coming from gram kibui because in the tshuva,
he's saying even according to the Rosh.
I don't know. I don't think he's coming mitzad that. He's not getting involved in that. I don't think. In the tshuvas, he says he has a big chiddush and he's not saying it. Right? That's what he writes in the tshuvas. But ask anybody from the Lower East Side, and they say Ramosha Feinstein held that you can turn off the gas totally because that's not called kibui at all. That's what they say. Okay, whatever it is. Can you put on this? It's some sort of eye, some sort of dye that you put on the eyes, right? It's to heal it. If it's a sakana, which means that there's like this rear is like a pus that comes out. That's one thing. Is a pus coming out. Dama demasa kadata is this blood, or there's tears, or it's kadata means it's burning, right? Utchilas oichla. Right, or it's at the beginning of this eye issue. So we know, that's no question. Even on Shabbos, it's mutter, because the eye, anything with the eye, the Gemara says, right, that it's It's a Gemara by the Zara. Rashi says that anything with the eye could lead to the heart, and you're machal Shabbos for that, right? It's at the end of the disease, meaning it's it's almost better, or to make the eye better, to see better. So what's it in? Can you smear this stuff over the eye? Amalei said to him, it's also. So right? So let's ask what you're allowed to put you're allowed to meaning the Gemara is only saying ein mechaben es habakas, but the kasha is really from the end where you're allowed to put out the fire in order that the house doesn't smoke up. So Shana like the Shnina, and we answer all the other ones that were going. That's going according to Rabbi Yehuda, and our shaila is according to the Rabbanan. Yeah, fine. Ameimar shari look mikhalena minachri b'shabata. Ameimar allowed a guy to do it, right? Igadamri ameimar kufei kachal ena minachri b'shabas. Not that he allowed it; he himself did it, right? So Zev, this is what you were saying. Can you get a guy to put it on? To do it, if you go according to this, then yes, you would be allowed to get a guy to shut off the lights, to put out the fire. Yeah, fine. So Amalei Rav Ashi lameimar my taitav. What's your das? What are you thinking? Why are you allowing a guy to do this eye business? Because we know that refuah, any type of refuah, even for chayla shein pasakana, is mutter ayidei goy. Called over shein pasakana. And anything that it doesn't have a sakana, that's even a davar shein pasakana, you can tell a nachri and he could do it. But that's only where you're not helping out. You're opening and closing the eye, meaning if you get the guy to shut the lights for a chayla, fine. It's not you're not involved. But if he's going to put on whatever this thing is on the eye, so he's going to say blink, move your head, etc., etc. So that means that you are participating in the actual melacha, and that you wouldn't allow. Amrale, so he says ikar zvid the koi kavasaf, right? There's Rav Zvid who says like you v'shanyule, but I told him back, Messiah ain't by mamish. So Messiah doesn't have, it's nothing. Even if you're helping out by moving your head, then that's not considered, it's not considered like anything. Yeah?
Why is it different
to Makif and Nikif? That has to do with, one second, that has to do with Shabbos, with Shnaim Shasu, right? Meaning if one is able to do it and one is not able to do it, so then depending on how, meaning is it possible to be done by one person, somebody else just keeps his hands on it, so then that would not be a problem for Shabbos. I mean, it would be a problem for Shabbos, doesn't say, hey, ain't by mamash. Helping is nothing. Yeah, what are you saying?
Why is it different to Makif and Nikif?
Oh, so well, I mean, so Gershon is asking that let's say you go to a Goyish barber and he gives you a shave, right? Is it also for the person to give himself a shave with a razor, or is it only also or is it even also just to receive it? So if you say that if you go, and then also nafkamina is, can a wife or a lady, they don't have the issue of shaving, right? So can they go give a man a shave? So we paskin that you're not allowed to because of Messiah, because you're going to move your head and you're going to go this way and that way. So Gershon is asking, why there do we say it's yesh by mamish and here it's ain't by mamish? Right? That's what you're asking? Yeah, so I think it's a little more, I think there it's a little stronger. I think there it's a little stronger. But meaning moving your head, but I can't say for sure that that's a teretz. Fine. Ameimar shara l'mikol eina b'yom tov sheni Rosh Hashana. Right, this is Chazara from 15 blot ago. Right, Ameimar allowed them to put this coloring on the eye and Yom Tov sheni Rosh Hashana. Only Rav Ashi remember, but Amar Rav Meis b'yom tov rishon yisasko by Amamin. Right, if on the Yom Tov rishon somebody dies, so goyim are allowed to be busy with the mace. The Yom Tov sheni, with the Yom Tov sheni yisasko by Yisrael. Then even Yidden are allowed to deal with the burial. Even on the 2 Yom Tov Rosh Hashana, on Amud base, Masha ain't came Beitzah, but an egg is different, right? So an egg we don't allow that. Yeah. So Mamela doing refuah on the second day Yom Tov should be just as strict. On a second day Rosh Hashana should be just as strict. Right?
What do you say about egg?
What do we say about an egg? We want it scrambled. What? What's the problem?
I don't know.
An egg is different. An egg, you're not allowed. An egg that's born late on the first day of Rosh Hashana, we said you're not allowed to have it on the second day of Rosh Hashana.
Stop. Nothing to do.
Right?
We were talking about a mace a second ago, and then okay.
Meaning, on Rosh Hashana, we will only make it for mace on second day of Rosh Hashana, and for everything else, we consider Rosh Hashana as one big day. So how did he allow him? How would we allow on the second day of Rosh Hashana to let the guy put this eye stuff on? I'm not going to nardoi sviruli because I hold like nardoi. They say af beitzah. They say even by an egg, if an egg gets laid on the first day of Rosh Hashana, you're allowed to have it on the second day. My daitach, and what are you thinking? Maybe they're going to make elul have an extra day, and therefore there's going to be 2 days Rosh Hashana, and it's really one long day. The 2 days is one long day. So they never had elul that was mo'ober. So since they never had elul that was mo'ober, it's a non-issue because it's never going to happen that they're going to make elul into 30 days, which is the way we're knowing nowadays that elul always has 29 days, and it's never going to be mo'ober. The question is, why do we keep still 2 days Rosh Hashana, right? So that's where you get into the whole minhag of Asena b'yadein.
Didn't we have this before? The
conversation?
sukkahs?
Yeah, we had this.
But they go back and make it all for something, no?
Yeah. This was all 15 blot ago, Be'erach. Yes, we had this.
We had that in Shana Rabbah. We had that in Sukkah. He's right. It should be Shana Rabbah. They changed the whole thing, so it wouldn't. They made
So that they
Goyad
couldn't-
Rosh,
couldn't
so
come out.
Shana Rabbah would never fall on Friday, something like
Correct.
that.
Yeah.
What is this whole last piece of the conversation here? We're talking about Amiran, the way after Hill come.
What are you saying?
Tilma Ma'aber Elul. We're
Yeah.
two Amiran talking to each other. Not Ma'aber anything anymore. Who?
Yes, that's what he answered him. That be moist from.
The
Ezra,
homie
no,
Moshe
they never
Ezra's
did
not
it.
Negeya, but that's even before Hillel HaKatan. They never had an Elul Mu'ober. These are my roim had a luach. This whole conversation wasn't Negeya.
I think he's just saying, what do you want to say that maybe it's going to be, you're going to have to keep Yom HaRichta because the Edom are not going to come and go Min Chalumala and all that stuff. So he's saying that's not a concern. Right?
The Paskin here that it's not Yom HaRichta, even today with the luach, there's no Yom HaRichta.
Yes, that's what Nardoi. That's what they have, the Nardoi. Yeah. No? That's what we said last time. Yeah.
The last time we had.
Okay. Well, we didn't say? I don't know. I thought that's
last time it was a Machlokes in the Gemara whether Kedusha Achas here or not. After Rabbi Yochanan.
Right.
But here it's saying once you have, I don't know how the luach falls into this. He's ignoring the luach completely. He's about 500 years after the luach was created.
No, but Nardoi was not, right? Nardoi was before.
That was way after. This is Bavel. This is way after the luach.
He wasn't on the Ney Yisrael mailing list.
No, wait a minute, it was Nardoi. Wasn't it by the Tanoim Nardoi?
What are we talking about? We're talking about Rav Ashi and Ameimar.
No, but they say we go with Nardoi. I ask like Nardoi.
The Kasha's on Nardoi?
No, they say we go with Nardoi. The way Nardoi approached this whole thing, and that whole Nardoi psak was based on Ezra never making from Ezra and on. Yeah. Okay. So let's see. By the way, even Pete and Greetzen, El Rekikin. So they didn't allow these Pete and Greetzen, only Rekikin. Rekikin is really like matzah. So Tanarabana Beshama Ain't even passed over the Pesach. Besil Matirin. Beshama says you're not allowed to make thick bread on Pesach, right? Because the chametz issues. Besil Matirin. Besil is mutter. Bekama Passover. How much is a thick bread? Amar Avhuna Tefach. It's a tefach. She came to belechem aponim tefach because we know that the belechem aponim each bread by the lechem aponim, right? What do you call that? The show bread was a tefach thick. So maskal Rav Yosef, im omru b'zrizin, yamru b'sheinas reason. If you're saying it that it's okay, that it could be a tefach thick by zrizin, meaning kaihanim, you're going to tell that to everybody that's not zrizin, meaning klal yisrael. You remember with pas amela, if you're going to say it by pas, that's amela that is doing a lot of work on it. They had to constantly be working the dough. Yamru pasha in amela, you're going to say by pas that's not amela. Im amru be'etzim yiveshim. You're going to say it by dry. Yamru be'etzim lachem. You're going to say it by wet wood, right? Meaning because during that a lot of the wood by Pesach time is wet from the winter. Im amru b'tanur cham. Yamru b'tanur tzainin. If they're going to do it by a hot tanner, right? The lechem aponim was made in a hot tanner. Yamru b'tanur tzainin. If they're saying it in a metal, then you're going to say it by a cheres. Some of Yomi Beitzah, Shayla says Rebbe B'yichud. I asked Rebbe privately, right? That doesn't mean Rebbe HaKodesh. She asked my Rebbe. Omanu Rav, and who was it? It was Rav. My pas ava, it doesn't mean thick. It means pas meruba. It means a lot of bread. Igadamri, Amar Rav Yomi Beitzah, Amar Rav Shayla says Rebbe. This one is actually with the Rabbeinu HaKadosh. My pasava pas meruba. Okay, it means so it doesn't mean thick bread. It means a lot of bread at one time. But my karole pas ava. Why is it called thick bread? Because it's very large. The kneading of it is very large. Inabi basri the haitana pas meruba pas ava karole. Or they call and the town that this Tana was in, large amounts of bread, they call it thick bread. It's a dialect thing. Michti, I don't know if it's a dialect, not dialect. Whatever. Dialect is not. Okay, whatever. You got the point, I hope. Yeah, anyways, Michti. Yeah. Mishum de Katarach Tircha Deloit Saruchu. Right? Why is Beis Shammai say you're not allowed to make a lot of bread? Because you're working for no reason on Yom Tov. If that's the case, this is not a Pesach issue. It's a Yom Tov issue that you're making way too much bread than you need for Yom Tov. So that's a tircha, right? And a Chanami, it's she says, yeah, it's true. But Tana Yom Tov the Pesach, he's really talking about Pesach. Right? We have a brisa that says takits. It means Yom Tov. It doesn't necessarily mean Pesach. Okay, zog the Mishna weiter. Afu Amar Shlosh Dorm Lahokil. He said three things, R Gamliel, right? The last Mishna was R Gamliel did three things lechumra, like Beis Shammai. Here we're saying he did three things lekula. Mechavden beis hamitas. They would back then the rooms they would lived on dirt floors. So you had guests, you're allowed to sweep the dirt floor. Right? So mechavden beis hamitas, you can sweep it. Umanichin as a mugmar b'Yom Tov, and you can put mugmar on Yom Tov. And you're allowed to, and they make a gedima kulas. We have this in Pesachim, which is they roasted the animals by taking all the insides of the animals and putting it on the top of the animal and roasting it that way. So those are the three things that he did. Kula said it's also. Yeah, so the Gemara goes through it now. So for those that want to smoke on Yom Tov, I would maybe suggest that you tune out now. Maybe, or maybe not. Right? Okay, so Ravasi says Machlokes legamer. Right? The Machlokes is you got the planes. You got planes by you in Chicago, or only in Farakaway?
So we'll get them on Friday from him.
Yeah, I guess. So Ravasi, yeah, Machlokes legamer. The Machlokes is you want to take the smell and you want to put it into clothing. You want to make your clothing smell good. But if you're just putting in smell, you're burning incense or whatever to make your house smell good, everybody would say that that's mutter. Right? So we're going to see in the Gemara. What?
Mailid Reyach? That's the sugya?
Mailid Reyach, yeah. Exactly, yeah, it's Mailid Reyach.
On Yom Tov?
For my Yom Tov.
Am I allowed to put a thing in the wall. You know, the thing that makes it smell, the house. You plug it in. You know, the glaze.
That's electric. See, that's electric. No.
No. Yeah.
Is it? If it's not electric, then you could do it. Here we're saying that here we're talking about you're making a fire in order to take the incense, put it on the fire to make your house smell good. So we're saying that's mutter on Yom Tov.
So if I have a thing plugged into the wall, why can't I do it?
I don't know how it works. If the electric starts working when you plug it in, then that's a problem.
Well, you cook it,
when you put in the new refill, if it makes it work again electrically, then that's going to be a problem. If it's not, then not.
You're allowed to cook to do that? You're allowed to cook to do that, no?
What?
You're allowed to cook to do it.
You're allowed to what?
Cook. To make the reya.
Yeah, that's what we're saying. You're allowed to cook to make the reya.
But you're
not to make a reya in your clothing.
You're not allowed to do anything electric that's going to make the reya.
Correct. That's for a different reason. That's because you're creating something from new. But let's see how it goes. So again, the Gemara is saying that to put the incense in order to make your clothing smell good, that's not allowed. To put the incense in order to make your house smell good, that is allowed. That's a meisvei. They asked the kasha in mechavdan esamitas b'yomtiv. You're not allowed to sweep the beds. Beis hamitas b'yomtiv. You're not allowed to sweep in the bedrooms the dirt floor. But Beis Rabbi Gamliel mechavdan, and Rabbi Gamliel says they did. Some Rabbi Elazar tzaddik pamim harbi nechnasti acher abel lebeis Rabbi Gamliel. Many times I went after my father to the Rabbi Gamliel's house. Loya mechavdan beis hamitas b'yomtiv. And they did not sweep the house at Yom Tov. They swept an Erev Yom Tov. They spread out a sheet over the swept floor. And the next day when the Archon came in, they removed the sheet and then they had a fresh floor and they didn't have to sweep the dirt floor. And then the house was clean on its own. So they said to him, in Shabbos, you're allowed to do this too, right? So what do you see? That they didn't do the sweeping, right? And obviously they're having a machlokes about it, so that means he didn't necessarily sweep. Fine, let's see. He didn't necessarily. Meaning this that he didn't sweep was because he held that you're not allowed to sweep. So there was obviously an issue with it. Then it says ve'im menichin es hamugmar b'yom tov. Yeah, so you're not allowed to make mugmar on Yom Tov. Shabbos and Rabbi Gamliel, they did again to make the smell. Right, same story. I went after my father. They didn't allow him to put the incense on Yom Tov. They would bring like these metal. I guess it's some sort of. That's like what's the word for it? Like a metal, a pot, I guess, that had holes in it, right? And they would put the incense into the pot, not that type of pot. Yeah, they would put the incense into the pot with the holes in it, into a utensil, okay? Into a utensil with holes in it.
They put the pot inside the pot.
Oh, yeah, that's what I didn't want to infer, okay? That's what we're trying not to infer. Right. So anyways, they put it.
They use them in churches. They use them in churches.
Oh, yeah. You're right. Yeah, something like that. We're not going to ask how you know that, but
those things are even called censers from incense. What? They're called censers.
Okay, so there you go.
Tenser.
All right, whatever it is, but they would do it that way. And they would smoke it up from Erev Yom Tov. So they would put it into this. There was a gadol that did this. No, there wasn't a big Rosh Hashana. They didn't want to smoke on Yom Tov, so he put the cigarettes.
Rabbi Rifkin from Torah Vadas. He would fill up a jar of smoke because he smoked. He smoked the bottom. He was a
so then that's essentially what.
That's what he would.
Okay, so that's essentially what they did here too. So they put it into this utensil, and they would heat it up, and they would plug up the holes. Erev Yom Tov, and when the guests came the next day, Poiskin esnik vein. So you see that they didn't want to actually, right? If you go with our version, they should have lit it up right on Shabbos. Why were they doing this whole shtick? Right? You can even do that on Shabbos. Forget about Yom Tov. Right? So whatever it is, it seems to be a stira from what the Mishna says to what the Beitzah says, what R Gamliel did. So Machlokes is for smell, meaning it's a Machlokes R Gamliel and the Chachamim, whether you're allowed to light the incense in order to make the house smell good. Also, but to do it on clothing, that's also. Everybody holds that's also. So it's the opposite of what the original Machlokes is. Fine. So
can I ask a question?
Yeah, sure.
They make like an incense coil that's like a mosquito repellent. Can you light those in a sukkah?
Excellent. We actually brought it up in the shir last night by Aaron Kaplan's tent.
You should have been at your brother-in-law's.
Yeah. So, anyways, that's what we asked. Is that considered something that you would need to do? I was telling people that they can, because that's something that's how you can't do it any other way, right? You can't. What are you going to do? Light it up before, right? It's going to run out. I mean, you could do it before Yom Tov, and then at least it'll last for that night. I don't know. I thought it was allowed. Yeah. Okay. But what's this? Can you smoke? Now, that doesn't mean can you smoke cigarettes.
Especially if you use that candle to light your...
Yeah. I guess that makes it a little better. But anyway, so Gemara says, Ma'ula Ashen. So Rashi says it means you want to smoke fruits. You want to make your fruits and to have that smoky parrots. No, that's for you. Yeah, you smoked pineapple and all whatever other things you're smoking over there, right? So are you allowed to do that on Yom Tov? So right? One says Asr and Shmuel says Mutter. Rav Huna Amar Asr Mepnei Mechaber. What's going to happen is going to end up extinguishing, right? Because when you put the spices onto the coals, that puts out the coals a little bit. Or why don't you say, well, it's going to light up? Right? Which is the way it works. Any pyromaniac knows this. When you put the spices on top of the coals, so then first it puts it out, and then it lights it up again. Some Rabbi Yehuda, Agabi Gacheles also, on top of a coal, it's also. Agabi Cheres, it's mutter, because on Cheres, meaning if you have a hot Cheres, you have hot earthenware, then it's going to be no problem, right? Because you're not putting anything out. Because you're making a new smell, right? Meaning by doing this, when you're going to do it on earthenware, you're going to make the earthenware smell good. And therefore you're creating something new. So therefore it's not allowed.
You can't spray deodorant on your shirt.
Yeah. So that's the spraying deodorant issue. Right? Let's just do a few more lines, and then I know it's late. To take a cup of good smelling things and put it onto clothing to make the clothing smell good on Yom Tov is awesome. My time because you're being moiled reya. So the Gemara says that you could take things that smell good and roll it in your fingers and then smell it, because that will take out the smell. It will bring out the smell. Or you can cut it. You can cut whatever it is that's smelling good, and then the smell will come out. So he says, "Hasam reicha mia isa." There, the reich is there. But you're adding reicha. You're adding more reicha by rubbing it or cutting it. Here, you're creating a new smell in your clothing. You have your shirt. You haven't taken a shower in 2 days. So now you want to make it smell good. So what you do is you take a thing of samim and you roll it in your shirt, and that makes your shirt smell good. That's creating a new shirt, right? So therefore, it's not allowed. Yeah. So therefore, you're not. The psak halacha is with deodorant is that you're not allowed to spray your clothing with deodorant. That's also because you're creating a new smell in your clothing. However, what about on the body? Spraying colognes and perfumes on the body. So almost all places can say that there's no moiled reach on the body. the Taz is machmer. The Taz holds that spraying the body is not allowed because you can create a new smell on a body. And there are those that are machmer for the Taz not to put on deodorant on Shabbos and Yom Tov because of this Taz. You put it before, it's no problem.
No, but you put on.
No, it is. It's going to create it stronger. It's going to create it stronger.
Now,
So
what
far,
about
the
Yom
only-
Kippur?
What? Yom Kippur is
Let's
an
say Yom
additional
Kippur,
issue.
you have a deodorant it's like powder fresh or whatever. It's not like flowers or something that's strong. Can you use that kind of scented spray deodorant?
If it's just straight powder, then yes.
Yeah, Jesse has a deodorant that smells like gunpowder and bourbon. He has a new deodorant.
There's
I
those
love
would
that
want-
smell in the morning.
So far, the only issue I see about smoking is your clothes.
Yeah,
So you can smoke without a shirt on.
You
Is
have
that what you're
makeup.
saying?
Yeah.
You didn't bring any issue about smoking, only about the smelling of the clothes. Am I incorrect to say that?
Yes.
So I smoke without a shirt on. So far,
No, but
I'll
that's a
wanna
different
go
issue.
see
We're
this.
not up to that yet. We're not up to the
I'm
smoking
saying I know
cigarettes
you're
yet.
not up to that yet, but I'm talking this side with the smoking thing. You're saying that us are at this point in your thinking because of the clothing.
Yeah.
So
No, what's that? I didn't cop what you're saying. You're saying that it should be also to smoke because the smoke is going into your clothing. Is that
no,
what you mean?
at this point in your thing, right?
the
You're
sugya,
talking
yeah.
about it's usher to smoke because of the smell that is going on the clothing. Because you're changing the smell. You said we shouldn't pay attention, which is why I'm paying attention. No, I'm joking.
Yes.
What I'm
No, but
saying
we
is
didn't get to
that-
that. We didn't get to that. I thought we'd get to it, but we're not getting to it yet tonight.
Okay, but I'm
Okay.
just saying, so far you don't see anything usher in the sugya as far as smoking cigarettes or cigar or whatever it is, that type of thing.
Correct.
He
We
meant
have
pay
not seen that
attention
yet.
this week.
Correct.
He meant pay attention this week.
I thought we.
That's a lot to ask.
It should be tomorrow. We should be able to discuss it.
Yaakov, we're doing anything for Shlomo's Yahrzeit tonight?
Oh, I forgot it's Shlomo's Yahrzeit.
Tonight.
Don't expect
the
Yeshiva to do anything.
Yeah, well, the limud should be the neshama. Yes.
Shlomo ben what? Shlomo ben what?
Shlomo ben. I should know this.
Abba.
Shlomo ben.
Don't expect Yeshiva to do anything.
It's my
Do
shred.
we have to start again?
I
My shred.
don't know where he is. I think Shlomo ben Shmuel. No.
So look in the book.
I don't know, Zev.
What is it?
Could somebody
I have
put it on the chat?
Please see if get the left hand.
It's in the Maritz Tzadikim, except I don't have it.
Oh,
Nothing in Shashiv?
hold on.
According to Genie.com, the son of Shmuel Freifeld and Rebecca Freifeld.
Okay, I thought that's why I thought Shmuel. That's
It makes sense. Shmuley is named after him. That would make sense.
Shmuel, yeah, Shmuel is right.
I asked Siri.
Yes, Siri. Yeah.
It's
Siri
30
knows more
years.
than us.
To Yaakov, it's 30 years.
I
You
did. I
know?
said, "Hey Siri, who was Rabbi Freifeld? Who was Rabbi Shlomo Freifeld's father?"
There's a share tomorrow from Eretz Yisrael. They're having a Suda in Eretz Yisrael on Zoom. 8 o'clock Yerushalayim Torah.
Oh, like they did last year or 2 years ago?
But
I don't know.
someone's
They
got to
have it
teach me how you
tomorrow.
eat on Zoom.
Parrots, get information. Get information, put it on the chat.
For who? I don't do politics, Zev.
But I'm doing politics. It's
Our chat's apolitical.
I don't have it in front of me, but Shayu or Benny has it. I don't have it in front of me.
A good morning, guys.
Like it's Moyed. It's Yaakov. He's still on.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
How the Mechaber in Tafresh Lamed Tes says that someone who's machmir about not drinking even water out of the sukkah, is a Taviel of Bracha or something. Yeah?
Yeah.
And the Mishnah Brura, 2 sieve cottons later, says with meat, cheese, and fish, that B'derech Arai, Ein kan makim lahachmer klal. Is there a difference between achila and shsia and a sukkah?
What again? What are you saying? The Mishnah says what?
The Mechaber says there's reason to be machmir, even not to drink water out of a sukkah. Yeah?
Right.
The Mishnah says by meat, fish, and cheese, ein kan makim lahachmir klal. By achila sarai chutz l'sukkah.
Okay, but maybe that's the ikar adin. What does that have to do with Tavel Brach?
It's a strange lashon. There's no makom to be machmir klal.
Well, I'm saying it's
There is makom to be machmir. You can say there's meikar adin. There's no chiyuv. This is what happens when you set me loose with the Mishnah Berurah at 3 a.m. in Yom Tov.
I hear. No, I don't know. I would think he's talking about one is ikar adin and one is like you get a bracha. You can't say that there's a makom to be machmir with a Tavel bracha.
Hareza Meshubach. What does it say? Not Tavel bracha. Hareza Meshubach. Sorry. Yeah.
What?
Sorry, it's not Tavel bracha. It's Hareza Meshubach. I misquoted the Mechaber.
Whatever. So Reza Meshubach. That's even better.
Yeah, but still, you can't say. I don't know. What is? I don't know. Also, the first lashon of the Mechaber, Eichlin v'shaisin v'yeshenim, the sukkah. It's mashma that achila and shia are different things in the Mechaber. When the Mechaber brings, what do you do in the sukkah? He says, Eichlin v'shaisin v'yeshenim.
Correct.
Why does he separate achila and shia originally? Could it be that the arai and terminology of achila and shia are different? To be kaveh with achila, it's about the amount of food that one partakes in. To be kaveh with shia, it's about the matzav that's going on, not the amount of liquid. No one mentions, the Mishnah doesn't say it's a revius or it's a roiv kais or it's 2 revius or whatever. No one talks about the volume of liquid. They talk about what kind of shia you're doing. Mishnah brings with if you're drinking with chaverim, that's definitely a kvius. Doesn't matter how much you drink. You can drink a half a revius, it's still a kvius. With achila, it depends on how much you eat. Could that be a chiluk? The Chab is bedafka talking about liquids, kvius. It's also mashma from the Ramah. The Ramah says in the middle of the Mechaber says shaisin mayim v'yayin chutz l'sukkah ba'eichlin peiris. And the Ramah puts in brackets afilu b'kvius chutz l'sukkah. Is he comparing? The Mechaber is talking about a shia with a kvius, whatever that means. Either way, you're saying the lashon of the Mishnah Berurah ein kamakim lahachmir klal is just meikar adin.
That's what I would think.
I mean, isn't chumrah by definition more than meikar adin?
I don't know. No, there is a difference between that and then this Tavel Brach and then what was the lashon?
I hear, yeah. Raise Meshubach, yeah. I hear, but there's no ending of chumrah bechlal with sukkah. Then no one brings this makom to be machmer with anything. Because he's bringing it by mezainis. That's why he's bringing it by passive abakistan. What we do also, according to the Mishnah Berurah, why isn't that an issue? You want to sit in the sukkah and learn something, so you take a piece of cake and you make a leisha.
What?
When someone wants to sit in the sukkah and learn or something, right? So he takes a piece of cake, makes a leisha on the cake.
Tell me about it.
That's
man.
not a
I eat cake all
what?
day. I eat cake all day.
Was I wrong for not making any bracha now? We deciding here?
Yeah, so what are you saying?
What? Oh, so if you eat cake all
Wrong.
day, that makes a kviyas out of the cake. But if you just take a piece of cake as an excuse, how does that work? Mishnah Berurah doesn't explain it so well. You're not being a kveya achila on the cake. The cake's just an excuse to make a bracha. Sounds like ba'atzim, we want to paskin like the gra, but we don't. So we're making an excuse to paskin like the gra.
I don't know.
Also, what's my?
I'm saying we're doing it as a chomer l'chaimer inyan, right?
We're doing it. What?
Isn't I'm saying the reason why we're doing it in Mezainis is for what?
It's because we don't paskin like the gra meikar adin. So in the learning, you can't make. You're sitting in the sukkah, you can't make a leishu. So you use an excuse. You bring a piece of cake, and now you can make a leishu. I don't understand how that helps. Either you hold like the gra, or you don't. If you don't hold like the gra, then that piece of cake isn't a kviyas. How are you making a leishu on a non-kviyas?
Yeah.
Also, does it make a difference for me if I'm potter from the sukkah because it hurts to sit in the sukkah? Sitting hurts, whatever. Am I allowed to make a leishiv?
If what?
For me, because I'm potter, because of the chayla. Because it hurts to sit in the sukkah. But I sit in the sukkah for the kids or whatever. Am I allowed to make a leishiv? It's not a problem.
Why are you sitting in there?
Whatever. I decide to sit in the sukkah because I like sitting in the sukkah. Am I a
Except
hedyot?
we
I'm
don't.
potter from a sukkah. I'm not a hedyot, right? It only says that by mitzvah, not by chayla, correct? I still get a mitzvah?
You're getting a mitzvah for sure.
Oh, okay, good. I didn't like the face you made.
No, I'm saying you're getting a mitzvah for sure.
Fine, so then I can make a leishiv with chayla now.
But
Or
we
can I
don't
only
do
make
it.
what? What'd you say?
We don't do it. We don't make a leishiv. We don't make a leishiv on sitting.
No, if I'm eating, I'm saying I'm eating in the sukkah. The kviyas. I wash and eat in the sukkah. But someone who's patur because of chayla, but he decides to eat anyway, still makes a leishiv?
No, if you're potter and you don't make pashtuses, you don't. I don't.
Oh wow.
It's hard to say.
I don't know, these things are very tough. There's a difference between chayla and mitzvah. Mitzvah is nikra hedyot, correct? Chayla is not a hedyot if he eats in the sukkah. Is he?
It's not mitzvah, but he's just plain old potter.
But is he called a hedyot? A hedyot doesn't get a mitzvah. He's not even yaitza a mitzvah if he sits in the sukkah. But a chayla, you're saying, gets a mitzvah.
Yeah.
Then he can make a leishiv with chayla, no? Uh-oh.
I'm not sure.
Oh, wow.
I don't know. I just don't know.
I hear. It's one of those.
I think you're right. Mitzvah, I think you're right. Mitzvah, Mitzvah is different.
Mitzvah is where the Mishnah brings it's like the Rebbe with the kitten shalmayim, not by chayla. By chayla is just potter. You can still do it.
Right.
And then the question is, I'm so unclear about that. I need to. I don't know. Who can I halachically? I'm trying to ask a real halacha shayla. I just don't know what to do. I am mitzvah by sitting in the sukkah, just the sitting. That's chayla, not mitzvah. So what do I do? What am I supposed to do?
I don't know.
Well, if I text you,
I gotta look.
Answer?
I gotta look. I have to go. I have to look it up. I am so backed up in my text, and I still have to send out my cholamayit thing. So really, I should have hung up 10 minutes ago. But
no, but I'm asking seriously. I was reading.
I don't know. I'm gonna look it up. I don't know.
I want to sit in my sukkah tonight. Yeah.
I don't know. I think you could, but I have to look it up. You have any svarim over there?
I have no svarim. I don't know. Whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll work on it soon. Believe me.
All right. Yashikayach. I get
Feel good.
Hey.
Good.